Hello and welcome back to the channel. I know many of you may get a little weary of hearing these stories, but we have got to pay attention for sure. I'm going to be bringing a report to you that is talking about global food prices. They are soaring at this point. Global food prices are soaring, and this happy convenience that we have will no longer be accessible. Now, I want to keep hearing these things so that I can be encouraged to prepare even more. Make myself a lot more aggressive and my family a lot more aggressive with preparing for the coming days, weeks, and months and years. For the long stretch, we need to be making some sort of preparation for what is to come. So I'm going to get into this report about the global food prices. Many of you are already feeling it. There's this push right now to grow as much as you can. But even with that, you have to deal with the weather, right? So it definitely seems like there is a system at work here. A divine system that's at work, because this was all prophesied. Divine meaning the world is changing right before our eyes, but even what they call Mother Nature, we call it the Most High, even Mother Nature seems to be working against mankind. So with the global food prices, you have food shortages as well that are directly related to the weather patterns that is, either too dry, destroying crops, burning up crops, washing out crops. There's a whole system working here to bring about biblical prophecy. So let's get into this report about the soaring food prices. This is on CNBC, and it says global food prices are soaring and rice could be next. Rice could be next. It says food prices have been on the rise in the past few months, and rice, a staple food in much of Asia, could be next. The prices of many foods ranging from wheat and other grains to meat and oils have shot up. That's been driven by a slew of factors, including the rising cost of fertilizer and energy in the past year, as well as the Russia and Ukraine war. Now, I'm going to say even before the Russia and Ukraine war, oh my goodness, we all know that there were food shortages because of other things that were taking place as well. Okay, it says rice could be next. The United Nations Food and Agriculture Organization Food Price Index already shows international rice prices creeping up for the fifth straight month to reach a 12-month high, according to the latest May data published last week. To be sure, rice production is still bountiful, experts say, but rising wheat prices and the generally high cost of farming would make rice prices worth monitoring next. It says we need to monitor rice prices going forward because rising wheat prices could lead to some substitution towards rice, increasing demand and lowering existing stocks, said Salma Verma, chief economist of Japanese bank Nomura. The risk of protectionism measures actually worsen price pressures at a global level for various reasons. Feed and fertilizer costs for farming are already rising, and energy prices are adding to freight costs, she added. So I'm going to stop right there real quick. So this right here, when they say feed and fertilizer, if you're growing your own food, right, most of us don't even use fertilizer, right? Most of us are trying to go natural with compost. You see what I'm saying? So to me, this should be an encouragement to grow your own food, because the global system of food production needs fertilizer. It needs all of this other stuff in order to stay ahead, right? So that is more of a reason why you should try to grow as much as you can on your own. It says, so there is a risk that we see more protectionism from countries. Nevertheless, she maintained that the risks to rice are still low as global rice inventories are ample and harvests in India are expected to be good this summer. Russia's war in Ukraine has driven up wheat prices. Both countries are major exporters of wheat, and Russia's invasion has disrupted farming and blocked grain exports from the country. Wheat prices have soared more than 50% since a year ago. On Monday of last week alone, they jumped 4% after the Russian military destroyed one of Ukraine's largest grain exporting terminals. Okay, so again, rice is said to be going up or expected to go up because they're going to need a substitute for wheat. So this is one of the things that they are looking at and they are forecasting. That being said, we need to pay attention, especially if you are a big rice eater. It says Thailand and Vietnam were in talks on a deal to increase the price of their rice exports. Okay, according to Reuters report citing a Thai government official in late May. Four exporters told Reuters that rice traders have been buying more Indian rice in the last 2 weeks, according to a June 6 report. So with all of this going on, y'all, I think it's very important that we pay attention. It's very important that we pay attention and not take things for granted. Any stocking up that you haven't done, you need to go ahead and get that underway as soon as possible because prices are going up. We had noted in a recent video that something we purchased last year literally doubled in price this year. Thankfully, we bought more than what we needed last year, but we were looking to buy more. And when we looked at the price had doubled. This is a non-food related item. And so if you take into consideration things that we use on a daily basis, going up 10, 20, 15, 20, 10, 20, 30, 50%, then that can be ridiculous on your pocket. You see, that can be ridiculous and very stressful. It says, right now, I would be much more worried by India slapping an export ban on rice in the coming weeks as they were thinking about after wheat and sugar. Okay, it says India imposed export bans on wheat in May, citing a need to manage the overall food security of the country. It also slapped restrictions on sugar just days after the wheat ban. So they are banning exports, meaning they're saying, you know what, instead of us selling our food to other areas, we think we're going to hold on to it. We think we're going to hold on to our wheat. We're going to hold on to our sugar because we need to make sure that our own country is secure first. That makes sense to me, but that can definitely affect those who need those items, right? So it goes on to talk about are price hikes preferable? Laborde said that a price increase would be far preferable to any export ban. We should really differentiate between a price rise that compensates for higher costs and will benefit farmers and help them producing than an export ban that pushes prices up on world markets but pushes prices down on domestic markets, he said. Of course they're going to say that. A domestic market holding on to their stuff, it would be in their best interest to keep their own stuff, right? So they're basically trying to say that you're going to force world markets up by holding on to your goods. When you think about it, it may sound selfish, but at the same time, it sounds practical, right? For India to say that we're going to, instead of hiking up our prices, we're actually going to just hold on to our stuff, right? But you have others saying that an export ban is preferable. It says a price increase is more preferable than an export ban. But I feel like any country has a right to decide whether or not they either want to increase their prices and send the stuff out or decrease their prices domestically and hold on to their goods, not knowing what the future holds. I think it's a very wise move. It may not be the best move for the whole world, but for India, it certainly is. And that's just my take on it. As a matter of fact, everybody's looking out for their own, you see? So why wouldn't the whole country be the same way? Why wouldn't a country do the same thing? So anyway, y'all, there's a lot more to this article. I'm not going to read the whole thing. I just wanted to basically talk about the fact that global food prices are soaring and that it may affect rice at some point. So you may want to go ahead and stock up if that is something that you and your family eats. Stock up on rice. Stock up on anything that you can at this point because prices rising. They may be at a certain point now. You may say, well, that's too expensive. But if we blink, the things that we are calling expensive right now may be no longer accessible. The happy convenience that we have right now may no longer be accessible. So these are the things that we need to consider in the coming days, weeks, months, and years. The smiles that you see on the people on the screen right now, those smiles may disappear as those shelves begin to empty. It is what it is. The truth will always be, whether we accept it or not. It will always be. So anyway, I'm done with this story. In the comment section below, please share your thoughts. Until next time, I'm out. Be sure to ring the bell to be notified of new uploads on this channel, and also comment, share, like, and subscribe.